Seniors, wait. Before you open that fridge again, you need to hear this. What if I told you that your refrigerator, the very thing you trust to keep food safe, might actually be making you sick? Sounds impossible, right? But the truth is, there are 9 everyday foods that react badly to refrigeration. Not only does the cold destroy their flavor and texture, it can trigger dangerous chemical changes, strip away vital nutrients, and in some cases, even encourage harmful bacteria. And here's the kicker. Studies show that more than 99% of adults over 60 are unknowingly storing these foods the wrong way. That small mistake adds up, impacting digestion, heart health, and even cognitive function. Some experts now believe our obsession with cold storage could be quietly fueling the rise of chronic illness. Today, we're uncovering the real science behind these 9 foods and the proper way to store them so they actually support your health, not sabotage it. Stay tuned, because food number 2 on this list is so shocking, you'll probably want to clean out your fridge immediately. Oh, and quick question. Drop your thoughts in the comments. We'll be replying with personalized tips. And of course, don't forget to like and subscribe if you want more health-saving insights just like this. Now, let's get into it. Number 9, potatoes. You might think tossing potatoes in the fridge helps them last longer, but the exact opposite happens. And it's not just about taste. When potatoes get cold, their natural starches quickly convert into sugars. This process, known as cold-induced sweetening, completely changes how your body reacts to them. Here's why it matters. When you later cook those sugary potatoes, say by frying or baking them, the sugars combine with amino acids and form acrylamide, a compound the International Agency for Research on Cancer lists as a probable human carcinogen. In plain terms, refrigerated potatoes may actually create toxic compounds in your food. A University of Idaho study tested over 500 potato samples and found that within just 2 weeks of refrigeration, the sugar levels had tripled. Tripled! That's why mashed potatoes sometimes taste strangely sweet or gritty. The fridge has already damaged them at a cellular level. So how should you store potatoes? Keep them in a cool, dark place, ideally between 45 and 50 degrees Fahrenheit. A pantry, cellar, or even a ventilated cardboard box works perfectly. The key here is darkness, because light triggers the production of solanine, the green toxin you sometimes see under potato skin. And here's a pro tip: never store potatoes near onions. Both release gases that make each other rot faster. Keep them a few feet apart, and they can last up to 3 months. In the fridge, you're lucky if they last 2 weeks. Number 8, bread. Here's a surprising one. Your fridge is not protecting your bread. It's actually ruining it. Researchers have found that bread kept in the refrigerator goes stale up to 6 times faster than bread stored at room temperature. Why? A process called starch retrogradation. In simple terms, cold air forces the starch molecules in bread to crystallize, which pushes out moisture and makes the loaf hard and crumbly. That's why refrigerated bread feels like cardboard after just 3 days. Meanwhile, bread stored properly at room temperature stays fresh for a full week. And it's not just the texture. Cold storage also destroys the natural flavor compounds, the same ones responsible for that irresistible fresh-baked aroma. So, what's the fix? Store your bread in a bread box or a paper bag at room temperature. This keeps enough airflow to prevent mold, but holds in enough humidity to keep the loaf soft. And if you don't think you'll finish it within a week, don't refrigerate it, freeze it. Here's the trick. Slice the loaf first,
then freeze it. That way you can pop individual slices directly into the toaster. The bread comes out tasting almost as good as fresh, without ever going through that cardboard stage. Just remember, freeze, don't refrigerate. Number 7, honey. If there's one food you never need to refrigerate, it's this one. Honey is nature's miracle. It literally never spoils. In fact, archaeologists have discovered jars of honey in Egyptian tombs that were still edible after 3,000 years. But the moment you put honey in the fridge, you ruin it. Cold temperatures cause it to crystallize quickly, turning that smooth golden liquid into a gritty solid lump. Worse, refrigeration can actually introduce moisture. Each time you take the jar out and open it, condensation forms, and that tiny bit of water is honey's enemy. According to the National Honey Board, honey stored below 50 degrees Fahrenheit loses up to 35% of its antimicrobial power. Those are the same natural compounds that make honey an ancient medicine used for wound healing and immune support for thousands of years. The flavor also suffers. Honey contains over 180 natural compounds that give it its rich taste. Cold breaks them down unevenly, leaving you with something that tastes more like cheap syrup. The solution? Store honey at room temperature in a sealed jar between 64 and 75 degrees Fahrenheit. Keep it out of direct sunlight, and it will last indefinitely. If it does crystallize, don't throw it away. Just place the jar in warm water and stir. It will return to liquid form with all its health benefits intact. Here's something most people don't know. The darker the honey, the higher its antioxidant content. But darker honey also reacts more negatively to refrigeration. So if you've invested in a jar of deep amber or buckwheat honey, the fridge is the fastest way to ruin it. Number 6, coffee. Coffee lovers, this one hurts. If you've been storing your beans in the fridge, you're destroying them. Coffee is extremely porous. That means it absorbs smells and flavors from everything around it. Think about what's in your refrigerator right now. Garlic, onions, leftovers, and now imagine those flavors seeping into your coffee beans. That's why your morning brew sometimes tastes off. But smell isn't the only problem. The constant temperature changes inside a fridge create condensation on the beans. That tiny bit of moisture is enough to make the oils inside coffee go rancid faster. In fact, the Specialty Coffee Association found that refrigerated beans lose up to 60% of their aroma compounds within just 1 week. And here's something most people don't realize. Coffee's flavor comes almost entirely from those oils. When cold, they solidify and don't extract properly during brewing. The result? Weak, lifeless coffee that tastes nothing like it should. The best storage? Keep your beans in an airtight, opaque container at room temperature, ideally between 60 and 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Avoid glass jars on the counter. The light degrades the beans just as much as air does. Buy smaller amounts more frequently and finish them within 2 weeks for the best flavor. If you absolutely must store coffee long term, the freezer is actually better than the fridge, but only if you do it right. Divide the beans into small portions, freeze them once, and never refreeze. Otherwise, moisture damage will ruin them permanently. Number 5, garlic. Now, garlic is one of the most powerful natural medicines on earth. Seniors especially rely on it for heart health, immune support, and even brain protection. But the moment you put garlic in the fridge, you strip away half of its power. Here's why. Garlic stored in cold, moist conditions starts to sprout. Those little green shoots aren't just bitter. They also signal that the garlic's nutrients are breaking down. Worse, that same moist environment encourages mold. Some strains of garlic mold produce mycotoxins, compounds that are toxic to the liver and nervous system. And let's talk potency. Garlic's most valuable compound is allicin, the very thing that makes it antibacterial, antiviral, and protective for your heart. Research from the University of California, Davis, found that refrigerated garlic loses up to 50% of its allicin content in just 10 days. And the texture? Forget it. Cold breaks down garlic's cell walls, making it rubbery and impossible to mince. That's why refrigerated cloves often turn into a sticky paste instead of crisp, flavorful pieces. The solution? Keep garlic in a cool, dry, well-ventilated place. A mesh bag or open basket works perfectly. Avoid plastic or sealed containers. It needs to breathe. Store whole bulbs around 60 to 65 degrees, and they'll last up to 6 months. Once you break a bulb open, use those cloves within 10 days for best flavor and benefits. And here's a bonus tip. Garlic stored at room temperature actually releases its oils more readily during cooking, meaning not only is it healthier this way, it actually makes your food taste better. Number 4, bananas. Bananas and refrigerators are simply not friends. The cold air shocks this tropical fruit, causing what scientists call chilling injury. Their cell walls rupture, enzymes leak out, and the fruit begins breaking down from the inside out. That's why bananas turn black and mushy so quickly in the fridge. But it gets worse. Research from the Queensland Department of Agriculture found that bananas stored below 56 degrees will lose up to 80% of their vitamin C in just 5 days. Seniors already need more vitamin C for immune strength, so this is a big hit. Refrigeration also halts bananas' natural ripening process. Normally, they keep developing beneficial compounds even after harvest. In the fridge, that process just stops. What you're left with is a nutrient-dead, mushy mess. The right storage? Keep bananas at room temperature, ideally between 56 to 70 degrees. Hang them on a banana hook to avoid bruising, and let the natural ripening process continue. Want to speed it up? Place them in a paper bag with an apple. The ethylene gas will ripen them faster. Want to slow it down? Wrap the stems individually in plastic wrap. This reduces ethylene release by nearly 40%. And if your bananas get too ripe, don't refrigerate. Freeze them. Peel, slice, and toss them in a bag. Frozen bananas make incredible smoothies and even homemade ice cream, rich, creamy, and packed with nutrients. Number 3, onions. This one might shock you because so many people do it. Putting onions in the fridge actually destroys them. Why? Humidity. Your fridge has around 95% humidity, while onions need less than 65%. That excess moisture seeps through their papery skins and creates the perfect environment for mold. And not just any mold, black mold, which can produce aflatoxins, some of the most dangerous cancer-causing substances known. Even before mold sets in, refrigeration changes onions' chemistry. A study from Texas A&M University found that after 2 weeks in the fridge, onion starches had converted into sugars by 270%. The result? Onions that taste strangely sweet and lose their ability to caramelize properly. Ever wonder why your sautéed onions sometimes refuse to brown? Blame the fridge. The fix: store onions in a cool, dry, well-ventilated place. A pantry or cellar is perfect, Mesh bags, baskets, even pantyhose all work because onions need air. Keep them at 45 to 55 degrees away from direct sunlight. And remember, keep them far away from potatoes. They release gases that cause each other to spoil faster. The only time onions should see your fridge? Once they're cut. A chopped onion can be stored in an airtight container in the refrigerator, but use it within 7 days. Whole onions, though, never in the fridge. Number 2, tomatoes. And now we've reached the food that surprises people the most, tomatoes. If you've been putting tomatoes in the fridge, you're not just hurting the taste, you're actually altering them at the genetic level. A groundbreaking study from the University of Florida discovered that refrigeration switches off key tomato genes. These genes are responsible for producing the flavor and aroma compounds that make tomatoes taste like tomatoes. Once they're shut down, they never fully turn back on. Even if you let the tomato warm back up, the damage is permanent. Under the microscope, you can literally see the destruction. Cold temperatures cause ice crystals to puncture the cell walls, leaving the fruit mushy, grainy, and watery. But here's the part seniors need to hear. Tomatoes are one of the richest sources of lycopene, a powerful antioxidant linked to lower risks of heart disease and certain cancers. Refrigeration reduces lycopene availability by up to 65%. And since the enzymes needed for absorption are destroyed too, even the remaining lycopene becomes useless to your body. So, how do you store them? Keep tomatoes at room temperature, stem side down, ideally between 55 and 70 degrees Celsius. This prevents moisture from sneaking in through the stem scar. Don't hide them in a dark cabinet. They need a little indirect light to keep their nutrients intact. And never seal them in plastic bags, which trap ethylene gas and speed up rotting. If you've got too many ripe tomatoes at once, don't refrigerate. Cook and freeze them. In fact, cooking tomatoes actually makes lycopene more bioavailable. Tomato sauce, salsa, or soup made fresh and frozen is far healthier than raw tomatoes that sat in your fridge. Finally, number 1, avocados. If you've been refrigerating avocados, you're committing one of the worst food storage mistakes possible. Why? Because refrigeration doesn't just affect taste and texture, it destroys the very compounds that make avocados one of the healthiest foods on the planet. Avocados are rich in over 20 essential nutrients, including vitamins C, E, and K, plus potassium and fiber. But what really makes them special are their healthy fats, especially oleic acid, which supports brain health, reduces inflammation, and helps seniors absorb fat-soluble vitamins. Here's the problem. Cold temperatures trigger lipid peroxidation. In simple terms, refrigeration forces the fats in avocados to oxidize, turning beneficial compounds into harmful free radicals. A Stanford University study showed that within just 4 days in the fridge, avocados lost 90% of their antioxidant activity. 90% gone. And it doesn't stop there. The cold activates an enzyme called polyphenol oxidase, which accelerates browning and breaks down cell walls. The result? Stringy, watery flesh, separated from the fat, with a bitter aftertaste. Instead of creamy guacamole, you end up with an oily, unpleasant mess. So there you have it. The 9 foods you should never refrigerate. Potatoes, bread, honey, coffee, garlic, bananas, onions, tomatoes, and avocados. Each of these everyday items suffers unique and sometimes shocking damage when exposed to cold storage. From toxic compounds in potatoes, to nutrient loss in bananas, to genetic shutdown in tomatoes. The science is clear. refrigeration isn't always the answer. For seniors especially, every nutrient counts. At this stage of life, the way you store food can directly impact energy, immunity, heart health, and even brain function. Why throw away these benefits just because of a simple storage mistake? Here's the takeaway. Store these foods the right way, cool, dry, and room temperature when necessary. And you'll preserve their flavor, their nutrients, and their healing power. Your fridge is not the enemy, but it should never be the default for everything. Now, I want to hear from you. Which of these foods surprised you the most? Have you been refrigerating any of them for years without realizing the damage? Drop your story in the comments. I promise we read and reply to every single one. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe for more science-backed health tips, and share this with someone you care about. Because small changes in how we store food can lead to big changes in how we feel, especially as we age. Remember, your health is worth protecting right down to the last potato and avocado.